When even Sir David Attenborough, a man known globally for his diplomacy, poise, and reverence, lets slip a cutting jab on live television, you know the subject has truly crossed a line. During a recent taping of the Norton show, Attenborough, typically reserved and respectful, delivered a painfully timed remark following Prince Harry's widely criticized BBC interview. The comment was subtle, almost offhand, but its sting was unmistakable. Nature always finds balance. Even when some creatures wander off track, sooner or later, the wild rights itself. The audience laughed, Norton smirked, and Harry, who'd already become a walking headline, seemed to shrink. It wasn't just a joke. It was a message, a signal that the tide of public sentiment had shifted, and even Britain's most beloved voices were no longer shielding Harry from the fallout of his choices and Meghan's influence. The timing couldn't have been worse. Prince Harry's recent BBC interview was meant to rebuild public trust. Instead, it plunged him deeper into controversy. Full of vague accusations, self-pity, and oddly timed criticisms of the very institution that raised him, the interview landed like a lead balloon. Viewers weren't moved, they were exhausted. Royal watchers noted the marked difference between the Harry of old and the man on screen now. Rehearsed, defensive, and most tragically lost. And many can't help but point to Meghan Markle as the axis of that transformation. What once seemed like a fairy tale match has become a PR disaster. And now, the world's patience is wearing thin. Behind the scenes, BBC insiders leaked that producers were cautiously optimistic until the first edit of Harry's interview came through. The tone, they said, felt like a scripted victim narrative devoid of any real accountability. It felt less like journalism and more like damage control, said one editor. And perhaps that's because Harry isn't steering the ship anymore. Meghan, known for her media manipulation and image curation, has reportedly been orchestrating his public appearances with military precision. But the strategy isn't working. Instead of redemption, Harry's media moments have become punchlines, and in the court of public opinion, nothing kills credibility faster than mockery from the likes of Attenborough. What's especially damning is the context of Attenborough's quip. It came during a segment on species that disrupt natural order, like invasive predators who throw entire ecosystems into chaos. The metaphor wasn't lost on the audience. Many online interpreted it as a direct shot not just at Harry, but at the chaos introduced by Meghan Markle's entry into the royal ecosystem. And honestly, can you blame them? Since their departure from royal duties, the Sussexes have become less about service and more about spectacle. Lawsuits, tell-all interviews, Netflix dramatizations, it's all noise, and the respect Harry once commanded has crumbled under its weight. Public reactions weren't subtle. Twitter lit up immediately after the show aired, with one viewer writing, "When David Attenborough throws shade, you know you've hit rock bottom." Another wrote, "Harry's BBC disaster, followed by that Attenborough burn? That's a double knockout." But it wasn't just online commentators. Veteran royal journalists like Richard Palmer and Angela Levin confirmed what many already suspected. The Sussexes have isolated themselves so far from the royal foundation that even the British cultural elite now feel emboldened to publicly criticize them, something that was once unthinkable. And let's not pretend Meghan's hands are clean in this. Every move Harry makes feels heavily stage-managed, his words, his facial expressions, his carefully timed sighs. It reeks of PR rehearsal, not personal growth. Former palace staffers have hinted at Meghan's heavy hand in Harry's post-royal narrative, with one insider stating, he was once a man of action. Now he looks like a man reading from someone else's script. And that's the tragedy, isn't it? In trying to escape what they called royal constraints, Harry may have traded one handler for another, only this one wears designer heels and knows exactly how to pull the spotlight. Meanwhile, the damage continues. A BBC executive, speaking anonymously, admitted the network is unlikely to offer Harry another platform soon. "We took a risk," they said, "and it didn't pay off." The backlash is real, and viewers felt insulted. For an institution like the BBC, normally deferential to royal family members, that's a staggering admission. But it's emblematic of a larger truth. The public is tired of the endless drama, tired of the victim narrative, and tired of watching Harry dig himself deeper into a trench carved by Meghan's Hollywood-style strategy. David Attenborough didn't need to say Harry's name for the message to be clear. The laughter of the audience, the raised eyebrows on the panel, the viral clips circulating online. This wasn't just a moment of televised discomfort. It was a cultural shift. The final confirmation that Prince Harry, once the cheeky, beloved spare, has become a cautionary tale. And Meghan Markle? She's no longer the misunderstood outsider. To many, she's the orchestrator of this slow-motion collapse, and now, even the most respected voices in Britain are no longer staying silent. Once upon a time, the public saw Meghan as the fresh breath the monarchy needed, modern, outspoken, even revolutionary. But now, the air around her is heavy with suspicion, and her every move reeks of calculation rather than compassion. Critics, once hesitant to speak against her, are now unabashedly vocal. And it's not just tabloids anymore, it's respected journalists, cultural icons, and even former royal allies who are calling her influence into question. The narrative has shifted, and for Meghan, that shift is seismic. What's worse, the fallout isn't contained to public opinion. Behind palace walls, insiders say her name evokes more tension than sympathy. Relationships have fractured, trust has dissolved, and Harry, once adored even in his rebellious moments, is now seen as a man caught in a vortex of overexposure and misdirection. His BBC blunder only highlighted how far he's drifted, not just from the crown, but from the man he used to be. And as voices like David Attenborough's begin to chime in sharply, clearly, and without apology, it's evident that the gloves are off. The era of silent diplomacy is over. Meghan and Harry are no longer shielded by title or sympathy.